my view, the European Union has essentially shot itself in the foot because it has isolated itself from the attempts. There will be a solution. I assume there will probably be a ceasefire before the end of the year, or something will happen, and we might soon have Trump as president, and so on. But the European Union will no longer participate. We've closed all the doors now. We've also appointed Ms. Kallas, who is extremely anti-Russian, as the new foreign representative. Mr. Stoltenberg is currently at the Munich Security Conference. So everywhere we are, closing the doors. Everywhere we are trying to put in people who think this war can still be won. And with that, we are naturally isolating ourselves internationally. Enormously. In America, in my opinion, they have already moved on from the Ukraine war. I was just in New York. The conversation there is completely different from in Germany, probably also in Austria. No one talks about victory. Instead, they are more likely to discuss when it will be time for the Ukrainian army to collapse. Of course, no one will say that officially, but I met many high-ranking people there. So it looks completely different. And then there's BRICS, which isn't mentioned here at all, but the next BRICS summit is in Russia, in Kazan. And they already make up 45% of the world's population and 37% of the world's production or economic output, whereas the EU is only about 5% of the world's population and 14% of the economic output. Ours are going down and theirs are going up. 30 countries have applied to become members, including the NATO country Turkey. This means they will join, and we are well over 50%, and we simply ignore them. And the fact that they are meeting in Russia, when they could have chosen another location because it's at war, says a lot about how we live in a bubble here, and don't even realize that the world around us has changed enormously and not in our favor. Then there's the other thing. In many countries, especially in Germany, there's a survey showing that 68% of people are against arms deliveries and in favor of negotiations. And this is very, very similar in most EU countries, depending on how the surveys are conducted. So there's a parliament in Strasbourg that has become alienated from reality, and an elite that is pro-war, and in my opinion, has completely lost touch with reality. And that is, of course, a dangerous thing, because politics is, after all, the art of the possible. And if you leave that, even in EU, we are no longer strong enough to enforce it. This will harm us incredibly, this type of resolution, this type of policy. It will harm us economically. It will harm us politically. This is a political stupidity. No matter what one thinks about who started the war or who is to blame, these are completely different questions. So we have really put ourselves in an unimaginable situation. This is a completely mindless, irrational policy that we are pursuing. Irrational. There's nothing else to say about it.